G'day everyone, welcome to episode 49 of ECITV. I'm here with Shane and we're going to have a look at some news events and a little bit of show and tell. Not show as you tell. We'll be back real soon.
See you in a bit. G'day, he's Gary
And here's Shane.
and you're watching ECITV.
You certainly are. Enjoy.
So our general discussion topic today is about celebrating the 51 years of BMX racing
Happy birthday to... No, not quite, 14th, which is Sunday.
on Sunday, which is yesterday once this goes live.
It's like Back to the Future, it's just so confusing.
So it's Sunday the 14th of November. Back in 1970, Scott Breitop, who some of you may have heard of, the OM of BMX. He's quite famous in BMX's history.
OM, does that stand for old man?
Old man.
Yeah, okay.
But I think when he was 14, he had a full beard and it looked like an old man. It was pretty well
Sounds
known.
like a Weber.
Full beard and an afro.
Yeah.
So he ran a few races. He was a motocross racer to start off with. And noticed a whole bunch of guys were getting together on their BMX bikes in a paddock that they call Bums because the Bums used to live there. And I think they said it stood for Bicycle United Motocross Society or something along those lines. So he just took some of his motocross trophies and gave them out, and races got bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's a bit of a bone of contention. I think we were talking about it just before the show, and there's so many different stories about where and how BMX started in Australia. And I know the Shepherds, it was Scott Shepherd and Blair Shepherd. Blair mainly back in those days sort of introduced it to Australia at a similar time. But nailing down the exact day and date is probably difficult. But
I would have thought BMX started a few years after it did in the US. Like, this is 1970. I think our first national championship series was, it must have been 81, I think.
okay.
I could be wrong. So I would have imagined that BMX hit Australian shores in the late 70s, which is still a bloody long time ago.
It's about when you started racing, wasn't it?
Nearly. When I started racing, BMX was well established already in Australia. So that was way back in 1982.
1982. Is that when you commenced?
Yes. So I was doing paper rounds as a kid, and where I loaded up my bike, my bag full of newspapers,
You basket.
was right next door to where all the BMX magazines were.
Oh, okay.
So Super BMX, BMX Action, BMX Plus. I'm sure there was a couple of others. I'm not sure if there was any Aussie magazines at the time, but so I'd look through them every now and again, and eventually just kept buying them and getting right into them. And then shortly after that, BMX started in our area. So Puckapunyal BMX track started up in 82. But as a family, we had an early involvement because my dad was a mechanic. So they would go around to all the mechanics joints and ask, do you have some tyres that we could bury around our BMX track?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, the very early stages, we knew all about it. So we're there from the very first day of the Puckapunyal BMX Club.
Geez, that's flashbacks, isn't it? Having tyres buried all the way around the tracks as barriers.
And you just think about it these days, you just cringe.
So unforgiving, bang, straight over.
But you started a bit after that.
Yeah, we started probably about 89, I'd say. Our son was a bit hyperactive, and we decided to try and find something to burn up a little bit of energy. He was pretty keen on his little BMX bike that he was flogging around the front and backyard. So we wandered down to Lilydale BMX Club and sort of started just at clubbies and everything. Did clubbies probably for about 12 months, and then someone suggested that we should start looking at open meetings. The national championships were on at Eastfield in Croydon, Victoria, at their old track, just off Mount Dandenong Road. So we went down to have a look at this, or have a look at the event, and it was just blown away. I thought, oh, this is insane. How good's this? Such a big event and so local.
So that would have been a massive event because people were trying to qualify for the World Championships.
Insane.
Yeah.
It was huge. And it was ironic because we thought, oh, this is okay, something this big, so close to home and everything. So we thought, okay, we'll give it a crack. Well, we started racing the following nationals, which was in Perth, some 3,500 kilometres away. So we thought, we'll head over there, and thought it can't get any worse than this. And then the next one was Cairns. So again, another 3,500 kilometres north, and then and I think the one after that was Mount Gambier, so it wasn't too bad then. Yeah. So our first experience was heading across Australia and up across Australia for the first 2 years, but then we were bitten by the bug. Our daughter started, I started, and my wife got involved. Now we got heavily involved with Lilydale. I ended up president. Ronnie ended up secretary or treasurer. I wasn't too sure, but yeah, it just took over our life, and then obviously started running a business in relation to it. I was working for the government at the time, and I thought, there must be some way I can claim all this on tax, all this travelling and heading across Australia. So we started selling a little bit of stuff trackside, and honestly, the only reason we started doing that was just so we could claim the entries and travelling and everything on tax. And it sort of snowballed from that. And fast forward 25 years or something or longer, and here we are now. Talking rubbish on a YouTube channel.
In those early days, you were also doing a little bit of distribution, weren't you? What were the earlier products?
The very first, well, I mean, we ran Total BMX for a number of years, and then what happened is there was a lot of products that were hard to access here in Australia. So there were things like Hyper and TNT and a few products like that people were chasing. And so I thought, okay, I'll start to bring a couple of those in from overseas, and started bringing a few bits and pieces in. And what happened then is stores found out that we were carrying some of that product. And so they said, look, any chance of us being able to buy some? And I thought, here's another opportunity. So we started up ECI in 97. And so, we've been running ECI ever since. Ended up selling Total BMX because ECI started to grow and we needed to concentrate on that. But the first products, the very early products were probably TNT and Hyper. And then in the very early stages, we took over S&M and started distributing S&M, and then got heavily involved in the freestyle side of things. So, there was a lot of brands like Kink and S&M, obviously, Fit Bike and everything like that. And one of the early products then would have been profile racing, and we've probably been doing profile racing now for probably 20 plus years, I would say. Prior to us taking on profile, there were about 4 distributors in Australia. And part of the problem when you have multiple distributors is no one ever knows who's looking after the warranty, the advertising, the promotion, the sponsorship and everything like that, because everyone's sort of, it's a bit of a mismatch. And because we used to sell a lot of products through Total BMX, a lot of profile products especially, we would have the odd warranty. And then you're fighting between distributors trying to work out who's going to look after the warranty. And I sort of then approached Profile and just said, look, what you need is one distributor just to be able to control, all your advertising, promotion, sponsorship, warranties and everything like that. And they said, well, if you want to give it a crack, it's yours. So that's sort of how we ended up with Profile, and 20 years later, we're still doing it.
So there must be something that sort of keeps you involved in BMX. Obviously, Aaron's grown up. He's still hyperactive, but he's grown up and got out of BMX. And I think you said his kids have a crack at it every now and again.
Look, it's really good, actually, because the turmoil and heartache that Aaron caused us when he was young, being so hyperactive, it's actually bitten him in the bum a bit, because he's got a little boy now, Ryder, and he's probably twice as hyperactive as what Aaron ever was. And so now I've got Aaron turning around talking to me saying, Dad, I'm sorry. I know what I put you through in the early days because, Ryder drives him crazy. But, they're fantastic kids. And, none of the kids are really involved in BMX or the grandkids. Our one grandson and daughter, Aaron's, sort of mess around a little bit with BMX. They've got BMX bikes and they'd love to race BMX. But they are very heavily involved in other sports, football and basketball and everything. So there's only so many hours in a day. So what's kept me in it is probably just the people. Like a business is a business, it doesn't matter what you sell really, but when you've got a bit of a passion for the product and the whole ethos and everything of BMX racing and the people that you're associated with. That's what keeps me going. Yeah, I love it. It's fantastic.
It's definitely not the industry that's going to, keep you driving Ferraris and Lamborghinis, is it? It's a passion, and it has to be something a little bit more than money that would keep you involved after all these years.
Well, there's an old saying that if you want to make $1 million out of the bicycle industry, or mainly BMX, invest $2 million, because you'll end up with $1 million. And yeah, but you are right. It's not something that you do for the money, because clearly, you can make a lot more money doing other things. But it is an enjoyable thing, and I love dealing with the people that we deal with and the products and the suppliers. Majority of the products that we've done over the years, the ones we've wanted to, we've held on to. We still do TNT, we still do Profile. Hyper, became more of a freestyle brand, so we dropped that. But yeah, it's just the people. It's not just the local people that you get to associate with, but when we do travel overseas, without COVID, when we do travel overseas, the friends we've made all around the world, and when we do go to trade shows and everything, it's just fantastic catching up with everyone. And I've got lifelong friendships through BMX overseas and locally, so it's fantastic.
So I started racing 40 years ago.
It's not all about you.
and every now and again I have to sort of think, well, why do I keep doing this? And it really is just the people. It's not I've done a lot of racing, and pretty much happy with the kind of racing that I've done, the level that I got to, and all that sort of stuff. But then it's not just getting on the gate. It's not, doing the 3 motos and hoping to make the final anymore. It's sitting with a bunch of people, like-minded people that, have a laugh and go on all the road trips that we go on. And it's more about the journey than the results. It's all about, having those memories, basically, isn't it?
I must admit, you're right. I mean, there's been many times when we've belted up to Sydney or across to Adelaide or Queensland or wherever, and then you're driving home and it's like midnight, and you've been on the road for 10 hours and everything, and all you want to do is try and get home, get into your own bed, and you think, why the hell am I doing this? But then you get home, you have a bit of a rest, and then you think, geez, that was a good weekend.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun with all the boys, and catching up with people that interstate and everything, that you just go, right, I'm over the driving, but I'm itching to go again.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's definitely like that.
I think during COVID, all we could talk about was when the next road trip was going to be on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and next year is going to be fantastic. Like 2022 for BMX racing for us, hopefully. We'll have so much more to report and so many more trackside interviews and everything to conduct. So that'll be great.
I was planning on having a bit of a ride on the 14th of November to celebrate. I pretty much do it every year. Actually, at one stage, Bruce Morris and I got together and organised Go BMXing Day. So he had a ride up in Brisbane, which got so big that he decided, this is unsafe for me. There's hundreds and hundreds of riders and we're going to get into trouble. So he pulled the pin. In Victoria, we didn't have quite that success, but we had some good fun rides. But now it's just a quieter thing, less organised. Just catch up with friends and ride and have a barbecue. But it's going to be saturated in Victoria on the 14th.
It's a disgusting weekend.
So I put together a bit of a list for people that might want to have a look at some of the pioneers of BMX and a little bit of the history. So there's Joe Kidd on the Stingray. If you can get a copy of that.
That's cool.
It tells a lot about the pioneers themselves and a lot about the early days of racing. There's a Stomp and Stu documentary, and Stu Thompson was pretty much the first superhero of BMX and still rides a bike today. Have you seen that one?
I haven't. I've seen Joe Kidd on the Stingray, but I haven't seen the Stomp and Stu. Nope.
And one of my favourite mid-school videos is called Ride On, and that's by Eddie Roman, and that's available on YouTube, so you don't have to go out and try to hunt that one down and wait a month for it to be delivered. So that's Ride On. So that's during the real lull for BMX. It starts off with a scene where they're digging a grave for BMX, and it basically says BMX is dead. So it was a real lull in in the history of BMX racing, or BMX in general, I should say. And it's a time we should never forget, because we're really riding a wave here.
Certainly are.
BMX racing has really gone a long way since those mid-school days. A lot more of a professional scene with a lot of Olympic and elite focus. We've got a world circuit that we can watch live feeds on through the year, and this is a lot different to back in these days. Unfortunately, we don't have magazines anymore, but I guess that's just a sign of the times. And the other video I've got here is BF It, which is a Brian Foster documentary. Brian Foster's probably better known for his days riding freestyle and competitions and stuff, but he was one of the world's best BMX racers as well in his early career. So it's definitely one worth watching. You would have seen that one.
Yeah, I've seen that one. I've actually got a couple of copies of it floating around here, I believe.
I still got my T-shirt somewhere.
Oh, okay. I think I have, actually. I should drag it out.
So yeah.
I haven't got the Foster Airwalk shoes anymore, I don't think.
Oh, did you have some?
Yeah, I had Brian Foster Airwalk shoes. I probably had 3 pair of them.
You didn't eBay it. They would have sold for you.
Oh, yeah, I wish I had them now. I'd put them on eBay, I tell you.
All right, so that's it. Make sure you celebrate BMX on the 14th of November. Looks like I'll actually have to get this episode out early so people can.
Happy birthday for yesterday or the day before or tomorrow. It depends on when Shane gets his act together.
In news, we've got some BSX 2022 partner updates. So we've got HairCycle on board as a bronze partner.
Okay.
Do you know who HairCycle is?
No.
It's Amy's company, the hairdressing.
Okay.
So Amy Main does our head shave every year. So she's stepping up as a bronze partner. She already helps with a lot of fundraising. She's on the door, taking entries. She really does a lot for BSX.
Usually does some shaves.
Yes. I haven't had my hair cut since I got shaved.
Oh, I have.
And obviously she lends us Glenn from time to time, so he helps a lot as well.
Massive amount.
I can't give you, I can't unitize the amount of work that he does. Also, gold partner Airsho are back on board. So along with ECI, Airsho is the only other partner that we've had right from the very first BSX way back in 2006, I think it was. And they're supplying the audio equipment for us to run the show and keep everybody entertained. And Phirebird Designs, who are in the throes of finishing off our design for this year's T-shirt and poster and everything else.
A real collective, that thing, isn't it? A real collection, the T-shirts.
Oh, yeah. They do some great T-shirts.
Fantastic. And it's great to see so many people that collect each year.
Yeah, we've got some number plates from them here, actually, behind Gary. So I think that was from 2 years ago, and that one might have been 2019. So 2019, 2020. They do an awesome job. Yep. And Profile are releasing some new T-shirts, Gary.
They do. They have. The Rocker and the Paradise. So I have ordered those. I'm not too sure if they're coming in or not at this stage, but we do have some T-shirts turning up next week from Profile. But I can't work out on the invoice which ones are coming in, so it'll be a lucky dip once they turn up. But we do have some more ordered, so keep an eye out for those. The Paradise one is a nice aqua with gold print and everything. It's a very nice looking T-shirt, but it is only
Hawaiian design, really.
Yeah, very summery. So it's only available in medium, large, and extra large at this stage. But the other one.
The Rocker?
The Rocker. I had Romper stuck in my head for some reason. The Rocker is available from small up to triple extra large. I don't mind the Rocker, actually. Looking at that, we might pop an image up somewhere here.
It's more of a biker shield kind of design, isn't it?
So they will have those shortly anyway. So we do have some Profile products coming in next week, which we've been very, very shy on for probably 3 months now, so hopefully we'll start to see a little bit more flow of some quality stuff out of the States.
In other news, something I'm very excited by is this. I got it specifically so Gary would stroke it. So I spend a lot of time riding my bike, a lot more time just riding in the backyard or on the streets than I would on a BMX track. So a bucket helmet is basically my best friend. Just about as important as having a bike. And what I have found is having a big head. It's very hard to find a helmet to fit a big head. So I've been searching for probably 3 or 4 years to find a helmet big enough for my head, which I'm size 8 in this fitted cap. And as you can see, I've finally found a helmet that fits my head and has straps long enough to go under one of my chins. So, and it allows for fitment of many more chins that to come in the future.
More chins than a Chinese phone book.
So that's a S1 manufactured helmet. It's called a lifer. This is the mega lifer, which is for extra big heads. The lifer is the standard size, and there's a mini lifer. They come
For
in
people with little heads.
for little
There's
heads.
nothing wrong with a little head.
When Ripley saw this, Ripley's 7 years old. She goes, "I want one too." And
In the same pattern?
yeah. I said, if you
Are
ride,
you really going to wear that up in King Lake?
well, who's
Like,
gonna, who's
if
gonna
the
see
mist
it?
or something, someone sees that, they'll shoot it. I think there's a Bigfoot or something, a leopard wandering up in.
There's a myth of the King Lake leopard, so
There you
you're
go.
probably right. Maybe I need to paint it.
Just don't paint a target on it.
I couldn't be bothered choosing the colour, so I asked my wife to choose the colour, and that's the one she went with, and I think it was to match my underwear.
Well done, Hurst.
It's the midlife crisis model, that one.
They
They do come in a whole lot of colours. The one I was after was chrome, but they don't make them in the mega lifer, so you can get a chrome in the smaller sizes. There's like a multiple glitter finishes. I think there's a silver glitter, like a gunmetal grey glitter, a gold glitter. There's so many colour options. Not only do they look good, not only are they big, they're super light, and they're very, very safe. I watched a video where they showed multiple impacts on the same helmet, where other helmets couldn't be tested after the first impact because they would damage the equipment. These ones could be impacted multiple times and still be safer than the first impact on the other helmets. So it was pretty impressive. They are a little bit more expensive than a standard bucket helmet, so more expensive than, say, a ProTech. But well worth it.
Your head's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I went for a ride with it on the other day and found it breathes a lot better than my past helmet as well. I haven't worked it out because it doesn't have very many holes, but it must be just the way it sits on the head with the padding, holding the shell away from the head.
I zoned out a little bit when you said you were actually after a chrome one, because as soon as you said that, I thought, now I've got a chrome bucket helmet sitting around here somewhere
Oh, really?
that's signed by a heap of the Haro riders back in the early 90s or whatever. I'll have to dig that out.
You
Was it
will.
Nyquist or someone, or who came out to Australia? The Haro riders from
Yeah, it
America.
sounds like.
I think it was Nyquist and Dave Mirror.
Was he Haro back in those days?
Might have. I'll dig it out. I'll drag it out for one of the other episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a chrome helmet floating around ECI here somewhere with a heap of Haro signatures on it from when they toured Australia
All right.
and came into Total BMX back in the day and signed a couple of helmets and a few jerseys and
Hang that
everything.
on the wall.
Yeah. I've got so many jerseys and t-shirts that it'd fill this wall a couple of times. But anyway.
Also, people with eagle eyes might have noticed I was wearing this jacket last week. I didn't mention it on the show.
Hasn't taken it off yet.
I haven't. I've been
Sleeps
sleeping
in
in it. Been cuddling Gary in it.
It's cold up King Lake.
It's the Supercross BMX Secret Labs jacket. So it's a very nice jacket for Victorian weather. I don't know if you'd wear it too much up in Queensland. So it's lined, zipper, and it's branded. So,
Pretty neat. I do like it.
Very nice. Oh, it's got a hood as well. Not that I've used the hood, but I'm sure it fits.
Not super cheap.
No, they're not the cheapest jackets around, but if you're a Supercross fan, I don't think price really matters.
Would they be close to $300 Australian? Ballpark?
I
With
think
a bit of freight?
US retails 120.
Oh, 120. I think
Yeah,
200. So
yeah.
a couple of $100
So
Australian.
probably about $200.
Yeah,
Bucks.
okay.
Yeah. And they come in multiple colours. So I think this is the Ascot brown. and there's a lighter brown and a grey, and the grey has a different lining. It's more of a pink lining, so it's probably a good girls' jacket. If you want to find out more information about that, head over to either BMX Ultra or Supercross BMX. And recently we've noticed that there's new classes at the AusCycling National Championships for this year.
For old buggers.
For old buggers. Even older old buggers.
Yeah.
So in the past, the classes ended at the 50 plus class. So now they've added 50 to 54, 55 to 59, and then there's a 60 and over class. So I'm not sure how big the nationals are going to be this year. They might not be big enough to support these classes, but I'm sure going ahead in the future when people are a little bit more confident with travelling with COVID, we'll see these classes more and more, particularly given we've got an ageing BMX community. There's a whole lot of guys, I'm 51, still racing, and there's a whole lot of people older than me that are still at it.
A fair few people coming back into the sport too, because their kids and grandkids and everything are getting involved. Yeah.
You find that people around the 55-year-old age group are thinking, these 50-year-old whippersnappers coming into the class, I don't know if I could be bothered anymore. So hopefully it'll keep people in the sport. Obviously, the older guys normally bring their partners along, and often the partners are volunteers or maybe even racing themselves. So they'll bring their kids and their grandkids, and if we lose one of these guys, we're probably potentially going to lose a volunteer. We're going to lose other riders as well that they might take along with them. So it's a positive step for AusCycling. I haven't seen them do a whole lot in the last year and a half down here in Victoria, but
Can't help it, can you? Can't help it, can you?
No, but it's good to see them considering maintaining numbers in BMX racing. Let's hope that they start growing at grassroots levels. What are your thoughts on watching the old buggers riding their bikes around the track?
I agree with you. Holding on to the ageing population in BMX is very important. That's where a lot of the history is, which is what we started tonight's discussion about. Because it's all those tag-alongs, like you said, the wives that work the canteen or whatever, the kids, the grandkids and everything. I mean, it is such a family sport that it's great if... the only thing I don't like to see is when they start to get too competitive at that age. It's not like...
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it's just something that you're going to have a bit of fun. So please keep that in mind when you're 50 plus or 55 plus or 60 plus or whatever, that things do break easy. So just
it's all right. Always, you got to go back to work on a Monday or the retirement village or whatever it might be.
That's it.
So getting home safe is always... I don't think that really matters. It's for all classes, really, that message, isn't it? You want to...
No, it's not. No, you want to go balls deep with, when you're younger, but not when you get a bit older. You got to have a little bit of sense and just realise that things are a bit more fragile. So
yeah, I'm learning that the hard way.
Yeah.
So as far as events go, since our last show, the UCI World Cup is completed and the overall winners are determined. Mariana Pajon ended up taking the overall win this year, with Laura Smulders and Felicia Stansel in third. So Mariana, I think she's 31.
That's incredible.
Still going strong.
Yeah. Super strong. Yeah.
I think she got a first and 3 seconds in Turkey at those final 4 rounds. Second at the World Championships. Do you think we can see her keep competing for the next 3 or 4 years? Do you think there's any time soon where she's going to stop?
I don't think so.
I think Laura Smulders even admitted the same. I think she's around about the same age, and she has no intentions to stop anytime
Yeah, so I
soon.
pictured Laura younger. Okay.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, she's about 30.
Jeez.
So the young one, Felicia Stansel's back in third, and she seems to be making headways. It looks like the move to Answer, she's really stepped it up, Answer Squared, and she's still being coached by Sean Dwight.
Yeah, she is, yes.
Yeah, and that seems to be making a big difference as well, getting stronger and stronger and obviously more confident on the track. So, maybe one day soon we'll see her on the top of that podium again, and really giving Mariana and Laura more of a run for their money. In the men, we had Simon Marquardt take first. He narrowly took that. It looked like he'd basically thrown away the crown. Carlos Ramirez, I think he took 1 or 2 wins in Turkey and didn't make the final on the last day, and that made the big difference. So him and Joris were battling it out for second and third, and Joris finished third.
Okay.
And it was interesting watching Joris ride. I actually thought going into Turkey he'd actually win all 4 races, but he looked like he was struggling a little bit. And I don't know if it's, the come down from the Olympics and everything else.
Burnout.
Or the fact that the track was as different as it was and corners looked small and slippery or what it was. But, I mean, I'd like to be able to ride half as fast as Joris. So I'm very excited to be wrong about us not having any races on in Victoria until Christmas. So there is a race.
I was very surprised.
Yeah, there is a race this weekend at Bacchus Marsh. Unfortunately, we couldn't get to that one. So good luck to those guys running that event. Unfortunately, there is a lot of rain leading in. So hopefully
BYO gumboots.
Yeah, hopefully they can still run it and they're not terribly affected by it. But also, the Victorian State Championships are going ahead in Shepparton on November 28th to the 29th. So that's the first state titles since 2019. 2019. So it'll be good to have that kind of level of racing here in Victoria. But one thing that concerned me, and it's probably the main reason why I'm not racing this weekend, is being a bit loose after not being on a racetrack for so long. I need to make sure that I'm confident on the track so that I'm not going to take out the guy next to me because I'm goofing off. And
because you're part of this older class that needs to be taking it easier. I must admit that you are right there. There's a lot of people who haven't been on tracks very much, and so they do need to take it a little bit more cautious. With that in mind, there has been a lot of people heading up to Shepparton and booking track sessions at Shepparton over the past few weekends. I know it's all booked out again this weekend for a heap of teams up there, which is great to get a bit of track riding on the actual state championships track will be the game changer, I believe, because there's so many people haven't been racing for so long.
I think I need to get more used to my bike rather than the track, because the Shepparton track hasn't changed for a couple of years, or not massively, since the Supercross was held there.
Yep.
And we do race there quite a bit here in Victoria. There is a club race coming up at Geelong Thunder BMX track on the 20th of November. So they have an old and mid-school Grand Nationals, which is unofficial, but what they're doing is they're having a normal club race, and they're going to incorporate, I think it's 2 classes for old school bikes and 2 classes for mid-school bikes. Yep. So if you do have a bit of a collection there and you want to take your old school bike out for a ride or your mid-school bike, I'm not sure what the brackets are. That club race is going to start at 10 a.m. on the 20th of November for practice, and then racing will start at 11 a.m. And if you want more details, check Geelong Thunder BMX on Facebook. And there's basically a flyer there that you can have a look at for more details. AusCycling have announced the 2022 national calendar. And it's quite interesting. A really early kickoff with 2 rounds at the Cove in South Australia on the 22nd, 23rd of January. I do believe there's the intentions of maybe potentially swinging that across to the Sam Willoughby track.
Jeez.
If it's finished. I don't know if that's BMX rumours, but either way, the Cove is still a great track as well.
Geez, can you imagine if they did swing it across, the amount of people who would head to that?
Yeah.
To get a chance to ride on it.
Let's hope they can get it finished if that's the case. There's a round 3 on the 9th of April at Sleeman in Queensland. And then we're moving to Alice Springs on the 27th and 28th of August. I don't remember the last time there was a big race in Alice Springs. Usually it's in Darwin, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the track's like there. And
would the last one be when it rained that much? They had a helicopter drive the track.
Yeah, but that was 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Yeah, probably longer actually.
Yeah.
And then there's Launceston on the 23rd of November. So it'd be nice to get down to Launceston. I'm not sure if we'll end up doing too much of the national calendar. But Launceston also is hosting the national championships. So that's from the 21st to the 27th of November.
So a full week down in Launceston.
Yeah. So there'll be that race in amongst it. And a lot of practicing and a lot of staying out of the rain. If it's last visit to Launceston's anything to go by.
There's very few on the East Coast. You got that one in Sleeman's in April, and then that's it. Victoria, New South Wales didn't go to Guernsey at all.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. I'm glad they're sort of sharing it around.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Just a lot more travel.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I could be bothered, honestly, to go all the way up to Alice Springs, but you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Talk about road trip and fatigue in driving. Alice Springs would be a killer.
Could you drive there from here? You go to Adelaide and then up north?
Adelaide, yeah, Port Augusta.
2 days of driving?
Oh, easy. Yeah, 2 full days.
Yeah, no. Nice.
Or overnight. Just sleep in the back of the van and someone else can drive. And
you offer it.
Just roll 24 hours. Maybe not.
Would Sleeman be a closer drive than Alice Springs?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Not as many kangaroos either.
More direct route.
All right, so you got a bit of show and tell for us, Gary.
Oh, just a little bit to finish the show off, really. Just we haven't got much in the way of new products this episode, so we thought we'd just go over a little bit of OS 20 gear, just to let those people who run OS 20s out there to let everyone know that we've got Alienation OS 20 rims in stock. We normally have those all the time. The V OS 20 tyres in a speed booster in a 20 by OS 20 1.6 and a 1.75, and also the 11 forks in an OS 20 in black, either to suit a tapered steerer or a straight steerer to suit 10mm or 20mm dropouts. So we've pretty well got you covered in the sense of the OS. Oh, geez, sorry about that.
This is scratching dead, so.
Yeah, they're cheap now. So just to let you know that we do have a little bit of the OS 20 stuff here if anyone's chasing it, and it's usually available here at ECI.
You often get the S squared OS 20 frames in?
I think I've got 1 or 2 in stock at the moment, OS 20 S squared frames, and they are readily available. That if someone wants to special order, we can arrange that as well, either through your local or through us. We can get it in. So
awesome.
But yeah, just to just out of the box a little bit, apart from the normal 20 and 24 inch stuff we carry, that we do carry a little bit of OS 20 gear as well. So that's probably about it for this week.
Not a bad show.
I reckon it was okay. A little bit of walk down history lane. So hopefully everyone's enjoyed it, and yeah, that's probably about it.
We'll see you for episode 50 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we were going to rename the show or by episode 50, but if you got some ideas, throw it at us. But if not, we'll just stick with ECI TV. See how we go. Okay, everyone, stay safe out there, and yeah.
Oh, hang on.
What have we done?
Before we do sign off,
what have we done?
Remember Laszlo Kishamon from South Africa?
Yeah.
He wants us to bring back the answer to Show Us Your Bike.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
He did love it, didn't he?
Yeah,
He
he
commented.
didn't send a bike in, but he loved it.
Nah, he just... Okay.
So let's put a shout out if we get enough bikes sent in. So take a photo of your bike, or a couple of photos.
You know what? I've actually... Lux BMX up in Queensland, they've been doing some killer builds lately, and they have them all over Facebook and Instagram and wherever else you have them these days.
You're going to tell Leslie to go look in there.
Yeah, go look there, mate. No, we should tap into some of Lux's customers and get some, or even Lux, to submit some of those. Because, yeah, they've been doing some killer builds. So I know there's some fantastic ones out there.
Those guys at ECI have been doing some nice ones.
Yeah, we've been doing a few, so maybe we'll get a couple of our customers as well. But, yeah, the boys up at Lux have definitely been doing some fantastic builds. So, but anyway, yeah, maybe if we get a bit of interest and a couple submitted, we'll fire it up again.
So if you want to submit those, go to ECITV.com.au and there's a form on that website somewhere. I'm sure we'll find a link to it for you.
By the time Shane edits this and gets it to air, he'll make sure that link's all ready
Yeah.
and good and on here. So I'm sure he will. He's got nothing else to do.
No, well, I won't have. We got bucket loads of rain coming and I'm going to be stuck indoors.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, good. Okay then. See you all again.
See you, Laszlo.
G'day everyone, welcome to episode... I'm probably talking too loud now. I don't know why when you go to talk, your volume's got to go up.
You got your radio voice. Gary.
Hello, yeah, hello, Gary.